Can you give us a sense, take us through this study itself?
Yes, well, we've been researching junk food marketing to children at Cancer Council for over 15 years. This particular study was looking at various nutrition criteria that could be used to underpin junk food marketing regulation in Australia. And to do that, we looked at advertising on Sydney buses and trains. As you said, what we found was that 83% of the ads were for unhealthy foods and drinks, so fast foods, soft drinks, that sort of thing. But the other thing that we found, most importantly, was that the criteria developed by our own COAG health ministers was actually the most effective and the easiest to administer, so perfect for regulating junk food marketing in Australia.
83% of ads, that's a phenomenal amount. Why do you think that the industry is failing our children?
Unfortunately, it's not surprising. In the years that we've been looking at this, we've seen various industry codes pop up from the packaged food industry, the fast food industry, the advertisers. They are usually full of loopholes, whether or not it's the criteria that they use that judges what's appropriate, or whether or not they're targeting children's advertising only, not advertising more broadly.
So in terms of the codes, the current codes in Australia, what are they? Take us through it.
So there's a range of things that might apply to, say, outdoor advertising. That's something that we've seen recently from the Outdoor Media Association. But that one in particular really fails to meaningfully protect children from junk food marketing. The criteria it uses is probably one of the more lenient that we found in the study. And also it's really tight around where those regulation apply. Similarly with TV advertising, there's no sort of regulation there. The codes are quite lenient as far as what foods they can promote, and they only apply to sort of a specific area, specific types of kids programs.
And why isn't there any regulation in Australia? Is that surprising that it's still not there?
I think, unfortunately, governments prefer that the industry would do the right thing, but time and again, the research that we've looked at shows that these voluntary codes fail to have a meaningful impact in reducing children's exposure to advertisements for unhealthy foods. It really is time to see government regulation, comprehensive regulation that covers TV advertising, covers outdoor advertising as well on government state-owned property, as our project and our study sort of highlighted.
And overall, Claire, how big of an issue is childhood obesity in this country?
This is something that's of growing concern, and we are going to be seeing a new national obesity strategy being released this year. So this is something that should be addressing and highlighting the need for government regulation. We know that 1 in 4 Australian children are already living with overweight or obesity. Our concern is that they're one of the 2/3 that are currently of adults that are currently overweight or obese, and we know that overweight or obesity is associated with a number of different cancers and some more than 6,000 cases each year in Australia.
You mentioned that this is a growing issue, and we're talking about marketing and ads. Technology is available to so many children from such a young age now. They're highly exposed to advertising from a young age. So how worried are you?
Well, certainly we've seen that, childhood obesity remains in Australia. It's not something that the current codes have helped to address. We know that the World Health Organization recommends government regulation to limit children's exposure to unhealthy food marketing as one cost-effective way of protecting children from advertising, but also of addressing childhood obesity.
Have you got any tips for parents? What can they do to try and protect their children as much as possible from this sort of marketing? We
know that parents are doing their best, so this is why regulation is important, to support parents to raise healthy and happy children, and that's what we all want. And certainly, we have information on our Cancer Council website. We have a Healthy Lunchbox website that provides parents with information about healthy eating for children.
Okay, some good advice on the website, no doubt. Clare Hughes, great to chat. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.